I'm sure you've recently heard the news that it's being reported and rumored right now that Call of Duty 2025 is going to be yet another Black Ops game, but this time a Black Ops 2 sequel set in 2030. Of course, next year's Call of Duty COD 2024 is apparently going to be Black Ops Gulf War set in the 90s, spanning the Gulf War and other events. So we'll be getting a 90s Black Ops game and then a near future Black Ops game right after that. So a massive jump in eras, which I think is keeping things fresh, unlike having Modern Warfare 2 and 3 back to back, where the games are in the same era and they feel and look very, very similar. Hopefully these games have more of a unique identity. And it's rumored that COD 2025 will have the majority of the Black Ops 2 multiplayer maps remastered, but also some new maps on launch in a similar way to what Modern Warfare 3 has had with all of the original 2009 Modern Warfare 2 maps on launch. But apparently they want to have some new maps in there as well due to criticism of Modern Warfare 3. Lots of people hailing it as having a lot of reused content and calling it $70 DLC because it reuses so much. So I guess this is in response to criticism of that. Now, I've already made a whole video talking about COD 2025 and also in regards to zombies, as apparently round-based will be back in that game as well, which means we're going to get 2 full years of Treyarch round-based zombies action in COD 2024 and 2025. So I will leave a link to my video down in this video's description where I go over all of that information. However, in this video I want to talk about what this information means in regards to the current development cycle for Call of Duty, as well as what it means for the Call of Duty games past 2025. Because according to Insider Gaming, who were the ones who reported on COD 2025, Activision do apparently have plans right now for Call of Duties up to 2027. And right now we have a good idea, like I said, up to 2026. 2027 is the one most in the dark, and I know that is so many years away, but due to the fact that Call of Duties have very intense schedules, they need to plan ahead way many years in advance and start working on them and concepting the ideas for them way in advance. Of course, this means that by the time some of the games release, because they've been in development for so long, they can get poor reception because they didn't anticipate the change in community sentiments all those years ahead, like we've seen in the past. So that's what I want to talk about in this video. But before I go over all of that information, I first have a very awesome message to share with you, which is a great opportunity to earn some money if you use social media a lot. Stay tuned. Today I've got something special to share with all of my content creator friends out there, a game changer for monetizing your links and boosting your revenue. Welcome to Loot Labs, the ultimate link shortener and monetizer designed with gaming creators in mind, and a huge thank you to them for partnering with me for today's video. You are able to monetize your creativity. If you are like me, you're always on the lookout for innovative ways to monetize your gaming content, or any online content creation for that matter. Loot Labs does that and more. It's not just a link shortener, it's your ticket to turning every link into a potential revenue stream. I've been using it and let me tell you, the results have been nothing short of phenomenal. Here are some top tier tips for maximizing your impact. Wrap your trending content, whether it's downloadable assets or exclusive goodies, or links to other pieces of media or content, using Loot Labs links. It's like turning every click into revenue, and who doesn't love that? You can unleash your potential and unlock further earnings. And the site has actually been created by other fellow gaming creators, designed for gaming creators. So it's intrinsically created for us in mind. Now, of course, this can be used for any sort of content creation or any social media, but it works best for gaming creators because a lot of the links are more so tailored towards gaming related content and technologies. It's great to use these links when sharing rewards and or incentives for the users who are watching the content. For example, if you are doing a giveaway, you can use this link and it's a win-win situation. You can be helping your fans and getting some awesome loot, and in return you are also similarly rewarded. To, for example, help fund the giveaway to begin with. If you are a content creator or you're trying to build an audience on social media, this is an extra way to earn some revenue, and you can check out my link in this video's description to sign up for Loot Labs today, and we can help each other out. It's a win-win and the earnings keep flowing. It's like a fast-track ticket for your viewers to engage with your content and, of course, those revenue boosting links. But why Loot Labs over competitors? Because results speak louder. In the vast world of link shorteners, Loot Labs stands out. The simplicity of turning every link into an opportunity makes it a game changer for every gaming creator who's serious about maximizing their earnings. Own your revenue stream. So fellow creators, it's time to level up your monetization game. Loot Labs isn't just a tool, it's a strategy, a game plan to unlock your revenue potential. Like I said before, check out the link in the description, sign up, and let's turn those links into an ever rewarding symphony together. Monetize smarter, create better with Loot Labs, and once again, a huge thank you to them for sponsoring this video. Like I said, this is the current lineup. We've had Modern Warfare 2, predominantly developed by Infinity Ward, but they've had help from the other developers. Then we've had Modern Warfare 3 just a year later by Sledgehammer Games, even though Infinity Ward have still helped massively on the narrative and stuff like that. But they made that game in a very short time period of about a year and a half, so it was a very tight crunch. Then we're getting, similarly to Black Ops games in a row, a 90s game and then a near future game in 2030 a year after that. So what Call of Duty game are we going to get in 2026? Most likely it will be the next Modern Warfare installment, whether it is called Modern Warfare 4 or whether it has a different title, such as it being incorporated with some of the COD Ghost stuff and retconning some of that, so it might be like Modern Warfare Ghost or something like that, because the Infinity Ward writers have already confirmed that they have plans for many future Modern Warfare games, not just Modern Warfare 4, and it seems like they have set up many different characters within this universe so that they can do many different side stories and spin-offs instead of it just being all following, you know, Captain Price and the rest of them. They can do lots of side stories such as focused on Alejandro and Valeria and the Mexican cartel, etc. So I would expect COD 2026 to be another Modern Warfare game. However, for 2027, I think Sledgehammer Games will be at the helm again, but this time I feel like they're finally going to get a unique chance to make their own Call of Duty game that isn't made in a very short period of time like Vanguard and Modern Warfare 3. Okay, so according to Charlie Intel, it seems like Raven Software won't be the main developer on COD 2025, the Black Ops 2 sequel, because lots of people were thinking maybe they would be the main developer because it makes sense, because they of course worked on a lot of the Black Ops Cold War campaign stuff, and they really deserve to make a full-on Call of Duty game. They've been doing great stuff with Warzone for a while, but they've not ever made their own unique Call of Duty apart from COD Online, which I guess was a mashup of CODs anyways, and it would have been great to see them heading that. Now, another possibility is that Sledgehammer Games will be being rushed to make that game again, but I don't think that will be the case, which I'll come on to in a second. Personally, I think Trek are heading both COD 2024 and 2025. Of course, they'll still be helped by the other studios like Raven and Sledgehammer, since all Call of Duties now pretty much have help from all of the developers' studios because they're such big projects. But I do think Trek will be the main developer, which means they haven't really had a full 4 years of development on COD 2024 because they've essentially been making 2 games at once, which explains why it seems like to us they've had a longer development cycle. Well, it's just because they had more work to do with 2 games at once. And the reason why they've even switched to this 2 games at once cycle is because it seems like it's just an easier way for them to pump out games, since they can kind of be like expansions, which I guess will be different for COD 2024 and 2025 since they're in such different eras. So I'm not sure how much crossover there'll be between content as much as Modern Warfare 2 and 3. And the reason why I don't think Sledgehammer Games will be making COD 2025, or at least heading the project, is because of the fact that we've of course had recent rumors about the behind the scenes of Modern Warfare 3's development. Apparently Sledgehammer Games actually wanted to make some sort of spin-off in the Advanced Warfare universe. Probably not exactly Advanced Warfare 2, but similar, I guess. Probably maybe titled something else, but it would have been some sort of continuation to Advanced Warfare, of course. But Activision did not let them continue with that project, and basically during the development of Vanguard, because they only had a year and a half to develop that, because apparently Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software were the main developers on COD 2020, but they had some sort of falling out and development was happening very poorly, so they forced Treyarch to take over the project and turn it into a Black Ops game, turn it into Black Ops Cold War, and then Sledgehammer Games will then push to make Vanguard in a very short period of time, only having a year and a half of development, which explains why that ended up being such a poorly received Call of Duty. And apparently they were promised that this would be the only time that this would happen. They were basically gaslit by Activision. They were promising, if you have this intense crunch for this game, don't worry, you will then have another opportunity after this to finally make a game with a proper development cycle. But then of course Modern Warfare 3 happened. Apparently they were working on this expansion for Modern Warfare 2 because they were promised they would get to make a full game after that, but then somewhere through development Activision were like, no, we can't miss out on money, and they got them to turn it into a full Call of Duty game because they were thinking about changing the development cycle where they would have a mainline Call of Duty game, then they would skip a year, but in that second year they would have an expansion pack instead, so they would still earn additional revenue. But they changed their plans and Sledgehammer Games were massively mistreated. Apparently Infinity Ward also got them to change lots of things which they didn't like, and they had lots of overbearing executives making decisions that they weren't fans of, and that's why we can't really blame the developers. Most of the time they want what's best for the community. It's higher ups and they don't really have as much control as we like to think, and most of the higher ups who are mainly just looking for money are making these executive decisions that tamper the fun. Anyways, because Sledgehammer Games have basically been gaslit twice into doing this, having very short COD development cycles, and because of the fact that both Vanguard has had very poor reception, it's sold worse than any Call of Duty in over 10 years, and then Modern Warfare 3 has has received very poor reviews, especially because of the campaign, and lots of people have been calling it DLC. I don't think they want to do that again for COD 2025 and get Sledgehammer to make it in a very short time period, and that's why they've given Treyarch, you know, this extended development time so that they can head both projects. And yes, Activision of course could manipulate Sledgehammer Games again and get them to crunch again on another game, but I just don't think they're going to get away with it again because it's happened so many times. Now of course Activision keep getting away with it, they keep doing it, but I just have a feeling like they won't be able to do it again, especially because we've had all of these inside stories from Sledgehammer Games regarding the backstory of Modern Warfare 3, so it's already all out there. I don't think they can just do the exact same thing again. So many developers will end up quitting if they just keep getting gaslit into working harder under the guise that in the future they'll finally not have that intense schedule and they'll have a longer time to make their own game and have their own creative freedom. So I'm wondering if for the game, I guess after the next Modern Warfare, that Sledgehammer Games are finally given the opportunity to make their own game, and that it is this Advanced Warfare spin-off or sequel that they wanted to make instead of Modern Warfare 3. Because in fact, when Sledgehammer Games originally made Advanced Warfare, before they started working on COD World War II, apparently very early on they were thinking about doing some sort of Advanced Warfare 2. They had concepts for it, but it didn't go far into development, and they started working on World War II again because of course the Advanced Movement games got very overdone, having 3 back-to-back, and we went back to boots on the ground Call of Duty. However, it's been a very long time now since the last boots on the ground Call of Duty, which of course was Infinite Warfare, that received a lot of hate, and that came out in what, 2016? So we are 6 years on now, and by the time that, let's say they are making an Advanced Movement game again in 2027, it would have been 13 years since the last one. So definitely the community sentiment regarding Advanced Movement CODs would have changed and people would have forgotten about it. You've got to bear in mind, most of the current COD players as well are brand new players that just started playing with Warzone, so they won't even have any recollection or even acknowledgement of the Advanced Movement era of Call of Duty. And I think it's about time that we go back to Advanced Movement. Now, I don't want to see an Advanced Movement Call of Duty game every single year, but once every 6 years or so, or even every few years, isn't so bad. And I do think that the Advanced Movement provided a much higher skill gap and changed the gameplay so much. And now there's been so many years, they can refine that gameplay a lot more, and maybe even tone it back or have it in a way that is less frustrating to people and have better design so that the maps are more catered to these maps. And personally, Black Ops 3 had amazing multiplayer with Advanced Movements. The Advanced Movement actually was so much fun in that game. I didn't have any problem with it. I think the only problem was Infinite Warfare had such similar Advanced Movement that it felt so similar, and having 2 games back to back like that just isn't a good idea in a similar way to Modern Warfare 2 and 3. I want to see Call of Duty constantly changing up every single year. I want to see all of the studios doing different things. I don't want to see Call of Duty getting very repetitive like Modern Warfare 2 and 3 back to back, or like the future games back to back in the past, or like the original Modern Warfare trilogy. They felt started to get overdone by that point, and that's why we went to Advanced Movement, and that's why we went to the future with those games anyways, because Call of Duty started getting too repetitive, so they wanted to do something different. And I think this would be the perfect idea. You have Infinity Ward sticking to the modern games, you then have Treyarch who do both past games but then also near future games, but not with Advanced Movement like they are doing for COD 2024 and 2025, and then you have Sledgehammer doing something entirely different with Advanced Movement. Now I don't know how this would of course incorporate into Warzone. Would they have Advanced Movement in the main Warzone playlist? I guess not. I feel like they would probably do it as a separate mode, but you also have to bear in mind by 2027 Warzone, we don't even know how popular it'll be. We don't even know what the state of it will be. Maybe it'll change entirely. Maybe it won't even be that relevant anymore because we're talking so many years in the future, and Warzone's already been around for quite some time now. So maybe by that point they're anticipating Warzone's success to not be as substantial, so they don't have to worry about an Advanced Warfare sequel integrating as much and as seamlessly with Warzone. And you also have to bear in mind that they have said for both COD 2024 and COD 2025 that Activision want these games to feel unique, because it's been a big problem ever since Modern Warfare 2019, where every single game aside from Cold War has felt so similar, with very similar movement, with the attack, sprint, etc. Even though they've tweaked the movements in each game slightly, they still feel very similar, and maybe they're realizing that people are getting bored of that. So for example, COD 2024 and 2025, they're both in different eras, and they have reportedly said that they're going to change the movement for those games as well. So maybe they just won't even have the attack, sprint. Maybe they're going to feel very different, because even though all CODs now are on the same engine with the COD HQ, this unified engine, they can still change the movement between the games, and maybe that's what they want to do. So we have a modern game this year, next year we go to the 90s, then we have a near future game, and both of these might have completely different movement and systems so that they feel unique and don't feel as repetitive as Modern Warfare 2 and 3 back to back. And then we go back to the modern maybe, because we already know that Infinity Ward are already working on a Modern Warfare sequel. I guess this will be following on from Modern Warfare 3, Makarov's big plan. Hopefully World War 3 actually starts in this game, because it really feels like Modern Warfare 3's campaign was really rushed and was just filler and was really poorly written, and it makes sense considering the fact that they had such short development on it, and originally it was supposed to be DLC, not even taking place with Makarov or anything to do with the campaign. It was supposed to be set in Mexico, following Alejandro and Valeria, and I guess that might be a future spin-off Modern Warfare game, and this campaign was supposed to be much shorter, just focusing on that. So yeah, I think this is the best way to go for Call of Duty. Switch up the eras non-stop. Would you be fine with seeing another Advanced Movement game, even if you aren't a fan of the original Advanced Movement CODs and you just want boots on the ground Call of Duty? If it's just 1 year, is it so bad? It's fine if there's 1 year which you're not really that fond of. CODs release yearly, and I guess, although we are very critical of yearly Call of Duties, this I guess is the good thing about them. If you don't like one game this year, you've always got the next year to look forward to, and that's why COD is so successful, because they pump them out so quickly, and you're always moving on to the next thing, even if you don't like the current thing. So yeah, it does seem like Activision are sticking to yearly CODs, at least until 2027, unfortunately. Microsoft are not changing anything. They just make so much money, they're not going to be changing their plans. The only reason they thought about doing it for Modern Warfare 2, having an expansion with DLC, is because Vanguard sold so poorly, and they thought maybe it's just not a good idea to be rushing them and pumping them out so quickly. But then Modern Warfare 2 and 3 have sold so well, even though Modern Warfare 3 sales and reviews are down, it's still sold really, really well. So it's still so profitable for them, and of course Microsoft have just acquired Activision and they want a return on their investment, so they're not really going to be changing anything at Activision much. Even though Bobby Kotick's going soon, a lot of the other executives are still staying, so honestly I'm not expecting Microsoft to change much. I think it's going to stay relatively the same. And the reason why I'm thinking that COD 2026 will be another Modern Warfare game is because most likely Infinity Ward already started working on it alongside Modern Warfare 2 last year, so it makes sense for that to be in 2026, and I don't think they're going to do a 2-year cycle again where they have 2 Modern Warfares back to back like Modern Warfare 2 and 3, because I think they feel like that's a mistake. Whilst they are still doing that for COD 2024 and 2025, they've been in development for a long time and longer, and they are also in 2 different eras, unlike Modern Warfare games, which are all, like the title suggests, in the modern era. So I don't think they're going to do 2 Modern Warfare games back to back again, which is why I think maybe 2027 will be Sledgehammer Games' next chance, and an Advanced Warfare spin-off that they've been wanting to do for a while, as opposed to it being yet another Modern Warfare game. And then maybe a year after that, it might be another Treyarch game, and then another Infinity Ward game, then another Sledgehammer game, and they just keep rotating. But honestly, we're talking like 10 years in the future now, so we shouldn't be thinking that far ahead. And honestly, I feel like within 10 years, COD's eventually going to move away from this yearly release schedule. Although it's still making them so much money right now, I don't know how much long-term potential this has, and I don't know if it'll last another 10 years. I think maybe in 10 years, COD just might move to a fully free-to-play model like Warzone, where everything's continuously updated, because they make so much money from the microtransactions that would supplement the yearly releases. I just don't think they're ready to do it yet, because CODs are still selling so well. But I think eventually that's the way that most games will be moving in the future, and that's the way that COD should be moving, because this yearly schedule feels so tiresome, because it means that the individual COD games don't have room to breathe and it be expanded upon. And if all of the developers were working together, I think this is the best way to go about it. They could still have campaign DLC that you have to pay for, but maybe the multiplayer side and even the zombies side might be free, or at least the multiplayer side I definitely see going free to play in the future, and just being like COD Mobile with constant updates and having a mash of all the best maps from all the best studios, and have lots of returning maps, weapons, etc. Just like COD Mobile, just like COD Online. And then every single year maybe different studios rotate with who's taking over development, and they'll cycle content in and out. Yeah, I definitely see COD going free to play, or at least the multiplayer side in the future. Maybe zombies and the campaign will just remain as the only paid thing. But I think this would get a lot more COD players in. We've seen the success of Warzone, we've seen the success of COD Mobile. COD Mobile has way more players than the console version because it's free and so easily accessible, with everyone having a phone mostly. So they're probably seeing the success of that, and I think eventually COD will move fully free to play and just to a games as a service model, and they'll just be supplemented by microtransactions. Alternatively, they might just move to a subscription pass. I mean, they're adding, of course, CODs to the Xbox Game Pass and other subscription services, so maybe that'll be how it moves in the future, where it's a subscription model. It won't be free to play, but it won't be a full $70 game every year, which I guess technically is like a subscription anyways. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, I'm rambling quite a lot now. Let me know all of your thoughts and theories in the comment section down below. Let me wrap it up now before I keep rambling. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.